Hello. It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
Of course, I am formerly known as the Atrain513 here on YouTube.
Yes, I am always the Mattrobus. Been a minute.
Yeah, it has. This one's a little different than what videos we've done in the past.
We do a lot of football.
Yeah, do a lot of football.
But when we originally had our original YouTube channels, like 16 years ago,
Yeah.
Entertainment value, you could tell, there was a little, wrestling
Yeah.
inspiration, the way we would kind of, character things. So, but where do you, how do you do Hulk Hogan? Where do you start with Hulk Hogan? Where'd Hulk Hogan start with you?
He started, I was born in 90, and my mom, she sat me in front of, the TV in my, little cradle thing, and I'd watch wrestling. So I've been watching Hogan all my life. I wore the slippers, the Hulkamania slippers. I had the shirts. I had the wrestling buddy till I was like 11 years old. Then I got a new one when I turned 30 that I have locked up because I don't want nothing to happen to that.
You didn't tell me when you got that, but I remember stumbling upon the video that was posted for that. And, we talked about, Hulk before, that we were both fans, but that was, watching an adult, have there was that magical gleam in your eye.
Yeah.
It took you back. You were so happy to see a piece of your childhood come back.
I felt like, I had something that I had for so long, and when I finally got it back, I was so happy. And I want to get this out of the way. I know there's a lot of people out there that, hate that people are remembering Hogan. I want to say this now, and we've talked about this many times. What a man does in his personal life, I don't condone it. I don't, it's a word that shouldn't have been said. But I'm not going to stop being a fan of Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea were two different people.
Did you happen to see my tweet that I put out?
No, I have not.
I could probably link to this, and I'll show it to you later. But basically, I started off with, we don't know what happens with our heroes, behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But one thing that I always appreciated about Hulk Hogan is, in a character, and then it seemed like in a man, and there's, videos going around on social media now that, he gave his life, to Christ and was saved. But at the same time, through the character and everything, he always wore a cross, even when he was, the villain.
Yeah.
Something I've noticed. I've probably seen it back then, but going back and watching, Nitro and stuff in the last couple of years when he was Hollywood Hogan, the cross and all that was always there. So that's very meaningful to see that from a celebrity, because you really, you don't see that very often. So to me, it made him seem a little more pure.
Yeah.
Than a lot of, say your prayers, take your vitamins, all that stuff.
The other thing is, too, is that, if Hogan was racist, as everyone says, he said that one word one time. Not condoning it, first and foremost. Again, not doing that. But he would have had Booker T fired in 1996. 1997. He'd have Booker T fired for calling him that word. But he didn't. Booker T even said Macho was joking with him the next night, and Hogan said, "I'd rather be a good N-word than a bad N-word." So, that's my whole thing on that stuff.
So moving on from that, but I mean, otherwise memories. I mean, you can tell me. So going back to when he was the villain, we went from the red and yellow Hulkamania, the good guy, to the NWO. He was the bad guy, and me, I think I've told you before, I wasn't actively watching it consistently back then. Had action figures. Knew the man's face. I know, and I'm gonna have you tell your story. But to me, and I know a lot of people felt that way when he turned into the bad guy. To me, it was more just the colors and everything. Of course, it wasn't the training and the prayers and all that. The cross was still there, but it was still Hulk Hogan. The beard and all that. But for you, being a hero and seeing him become the bad guy, that kind of hit home to you.
So I actually got a story about that. So sorry, we have Macho Man versus Hulk Hogan WrestleMania Rewind in the background.
They thought I can't hear it.
But I was watching a clip of it. But so when I was 6 years old, I lived in Louisville, Kentucky, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I remember I'm watching pictures because back then they showed pictures of the pay-per-view the night before, trying to get you enticed to buy it on Tuesday for the replay.
Yeah, the replay.
But I was watching that, and I remember I ran out of my bedroom, and I went in when my parents were in the living room, and I'm like, Hulk Hogan's a bad guy. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, Hogan's been Hulkamania since I was, an infant.
And
so,
before.
And before that.
We were afterthoughts when Hulkamania started.
But I couldn't believe it. But I still liked Hogan. I didn't care if he was a bad guy. I'd care less. I grew up watching Hogan. Hogan's been my guy since, my whole, like my mom said, my whole life. Because, I mean, you know me. That tore me up. I got to meet him in 2011. And, you could just tell, he cared about his fans. He talked to you. He didn't rush you. He really wanted to hear about your story. He wanted to hear from his fans. He wanted to hear that. So, it's a tough thing, especially in our world today, our society. They like to chastise people for, something they did a long time ago, and they've gone and apologized for it. And that's, they made you feel bad for trying to remember somebody.
Mm-hmm. And they kept him out of stuff for a while. He wasn't on video games or anything.
But my thing is that you're, coming at me. People I don't even know on Facebook are coming at me because I'm posting a picture of me and Hogan. I don't know you from Adam. You don't know me. Just because I'm sharing a picture of someone I met when I was, 21 years old, and I've been a diehard fan of, and was one of my heroes growing up. The problem is that you're coming at me for sharing a moment that I had with my hero. And that's bullshit.
Well, that's just when I went to meet him last year, and I won't get into the full story, but, a little controversy surrounding that particular event that I'm surprised didn't get more media attention than it did. But, my problem with that guy there was, there were children around, and as I was standing, in line to see him, you're looking at some of these kids, and, you think, how do they know Hulk Hogan? But at the same time, it's hell, it's cool. There's little kids that know Hulk Hogan. We're in our mid-30s, still fans and shit. But anyway, to cause a scene and all that, last year with, kids and stuff present, or, to take away from, people having a moment that they, grew up watching. Yeah, I don't get it. But, we're not here to spend the whole time, on dark stuff. We want to reflect on things we can remember. And, to me, I couldn't tell you my earliest memories of him. Like, I remember he was on so much stuff. I want to say it was an Angelo's Pizza somewhere, had one of those arcade machines, whichever, was it WrestleFest? One of the ones where he was tearing his shirt on the side. Like, that sticks with me, seeing him there. And of course, toys and stuff. You'd see him on TV and this and that. I just wasn't sitting around with people that actively, was watching wrestling. I had a couple cousins that was into it and this and that. So I was a little older. I think he was in WCW before I actually, fully paid attention.
Yeah.
But on that note, because, I had brought a few things.
Yes. I know one of them I saw.
Should have opened my bag of tricks.
We also had this.
Well, actually, I tell you what. Speaking of video games, you probably would have never guessed that I brought this. I know you have trouble seeing it. Look, and it's in like an old Nintendo jewel case. You don't see those either. But this right here is the NES. And for some of you youngsters out there, you'll see memes and shit, now where we used to, and you're not supposed to do that, but yeah, games and shit used to get dusty. And
oh my god!
Now, if we're being honest, you can go watch videos of people like, the angry video game nerd and shit. That game's a piece of shit. But that photo that they use, this was one of those marketing things. Like they would draw you in, with a great photo like that. But let me tell you, it was several years before there were any wrestling games that probably lived up to having, such a great photo of something like that.
But by the way, we had to travel for this. By the way, like we seriously had to travel for this.
State of Ohio is selling out. They're probably selling out all over.
Yeah, they are. We got some Hulk Hogan's beer, and actually, not bad. Not bad. I thought it was pretty good. I had like 5 or 6, so
okay.
I guess it was good.
Now, of course, that game's older. As far as stuff that I've had, because House Game's probably older than I am, but, stuff I've got in my lifetime, something I've had since I was a kid, so over 30 years now.
Oh, the WCW.
Yeah, so this is,
before
he was the NWO, and of course, it's a little beat up and shit. But
it's a 95, 94?
94. So that was like the first year you touch it.
I got one of these.
That's one of my early things. I don't have the little belt that was with it anymore. That didn't have a lot of color to it. But, I've had that all these years, kept it around. Thinking back to, he was in a handful of movies, a TV show. What was it? Thunder in Paradise. We're not gonna sing the theme song to that, but I feel like I can kind of remember it in my head. But
I got to work with the guy that actually sung that, J.J. McGuire. I got to work with him.
I actually brought a DVD triple pack here that I picked up on eBay a while back. It's a Hulk Hogan 3-movie collection here that they sell. What he was in. It is No Holds Barred, Mr. Nanny, and my personal favorite that I can remember him being in growing up, and go pull up a trailer for on YouTube.
What?
Suburban Commando with Christopher Lloyd, and it's also got the Undertaker in it.
Dude, I didn't know this was.
That was a thing.
No.
Yeah, like if I was making a list of movies,
Mr. Nanny
it made me think of like
favorite.
the early '90s. For some reason, Suburban Commando would probably be one.
I love Mr. Nanny.
The Mr. Nanny's good. I can't
The
remember what
famous
year
Pork
that came out.
Pavilion.
What's that smell? Alright, what else we got?
Oh, gosh. Oh, man.
We brought Yeah, and I was thinking a while ago, as far as actually seeing him wrestle around here, there's only one opportunity that I can think of would have happened, and I want to say it was when Nitro came here in like 1997, which obviously I didn't go to.
So
I think we had a pay-per-view here, but I don't know if Hogan was on
we
that
did,
card or not.
and he wasn't. But, however, I saw Hogan versus Piper Starrcade 1996. That was my Christmas gift.
You sure it wasn't 97?
It was 96. They
No, because they built that match up for a year.
No, that was Hogan and Sting, 97.
What did you say?
Piper Hogan.
Oh, Piper and Hogan.
Yeah, Piper and Hogan. That was my Christmas gift. I thought it was a Smurfs VHS tape. I'm like, oh, cool, another Smurfs tape. My mom's like, no, open it. I open it, and it's Lex Luger giving torture rack to somebody. And it says WCW Starrcade 96. So I got to go to that for Christmas.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, of course, this is a WWE branded, and it's plastic.
Yeah.
But what's known as the big gold belt, you think of like Ric Flair and probably a couple other guys,
Yes.
but I would definitely
Hogan.
think of Hogan. With that, they spray painting NWO and shit on it and all that.
I had one of those back in the day.
Did you?
Yeah, the NWO with the NWO thing on it. Back when it was styrofoam and not, a strap.
Yeah, that's funny.
Showing my age.
So you had your
Brother.
what the hell was it called back then? Wrestling Buddies by Tonka or some shit?
Yes.
Okay, so this thing right here, this was another eBay find because in my mind, I can remember having this when I was little, but not for very long. It could still, I guess, somehow be tucked somewhere, like an old relative's house or something. I don't know. But anyway, thinking of it and was like, are these things on fucking eBay? I feel like I got it when I was real little at a carnival or some shit. And the, I feel like the copyright on it is like 91 or something.
I remember those.
So they're old as shit. And they came in different sizes. They don't make any noise or anything, but
Yeah,
there's like a little
I have the bigger
Hulk Hogan
size of that.
plushy thing.
But mine has the Hulk Rules shirt.
Oh, okay. That's neat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's pretty badass for 1991.
Dude. Like,
And the way they did the face. Just
Like-
printed on there.
oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
those things, little kid tears some shit like that up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised I never got. Well, I probably would have got that and
Now-
tore it up.
On that note, going back to belts, and it would actually probably fit that thing. Tried to put it on there. But one of the reasons I bought this small replica of this belt is because the winged gold was Hogan the first one to hold
I think so.
the old classic winged gold back in the day?
No, I think Randy was. No, it was Hogan. It was Hogan.
You
It
just said
was-
Randy.
Yeah, because it was Hogan, Andre, and Randy.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I gotta have that and the classic logo. It's on the bag for that.
It's crazy.
Now, obviously, I didn't, bring everything in my collection. Just a
Yeah.
few of the greatest.
Well, you
hits.
did bring something.
Yeah, some good
Did
stuff.
bring
We
a
got
picture.
Oh yeah,
A
and
certain
we watched a few matches, before we started.
Yes, we
I
did.
had a few of Hogan's Real American beers.
Amazing, by the way.
Try and find it on their website or something.
Yeah, we had to find somebody to get it for us, 25 minutes away.
But yeah, this was another. I like eBay. This was another eBay find. The Icon versus Icon with the WWF logo. So yeah, I've actually I didn't have this hanging up somewhere because I'm still trying to think of a spot.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I can,
In the same, I get you. In the same building, I've got the was it WrestleMania 6 with Ultimate Warrior.
Do you really?
I've got that hanging. Yeah, same size. I got it from the same seller on eBay.
Jeez.
So yeah, we got
I gotta
that.
find this seller.
Oh, I'll send you a link. I got you.
Yeah. Is it that wrestling, extreme wrestling shirt?
Oh no, it's
Oh.
it's not even like a wrestling thing. They've got all kinds of sports stuff on there. Not that we're gonna thumb through it, but brought his old autobiography book that WWE put out back in the day with the classic shirt ripping on the back. Yeah, it's some good stuff. Now, as far as going through stuff, I only have one more thing. I don't know if it still works or not. I'm sure it does. No batteries in it. This will be the next iteration of your Wrestling Buddies by Tonka that WCW had put out back in the day. I believe they called these Bashin' Brawlers.
Yes.
And you used to, I can still feel like a button in his hand here, and there's like wires that run through the arm and shit, and you twist it, all this shit.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, there's a WCW.
Dude, I've not seen this in forever.
They had, what all did those come in? They had a couple series, but it was like Hogan, Sting, DDP,
Goldberg, and Savage.
Originally?
Mm-hmm.
Savage had 2 colors, right? And Sting did too.
Dude, that's insane.
Oh, we said DDP. I feel like I'm forgetting. Didn't Bret Hart get a later release?
Yes.
When he came over?
I mean, I know I've gotten bigger, of course.
And I know there's still commercials for these on eBay.
I remember these were bigger.
They were hard to find. Well, I mean, the box they came in was huge. I wish I still had the box. I can remember the box.
That's crazy,
of course, there's
man.
Pictures of that shit online. But yeah, there's like a sensor here. You could grab his nose and be like, "Oh, my nose," and shit.
Yeah.
And of course, you think you'd want to wrestle opponents, but you snuggle.
Oh, brother, you got me.
Yeah, you snuggling on your heroes and shit. And I know we're adults sitting here playing with toys, but it's whatever. What do you want to talk about in his career? I mean, there was.
Well, I mean, right now we're watching the Savage and him, the Mega Powers explode. Has to be his best opponent ever.
I'm sure it'll continue, but there's promos that him and Savage did that people joke, and they could have been, but that they're coked up, but you're like, whoa.
Oh yeah, though.
Or there's the one dude that does voiceovers with him, and it's like my cokehead roommate or some shit. I don't know if you've seen those videos. There's so much stuff you see online. There's a meme of him making a face oh, it's a hot day, you're in a portalette, and somebody knocks on the door. I'm in here, brother. There's so much shit. I mean, people know Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, he's, here's what I also want to say. I forgot this. Without Hulk Hogan, wrestling would not be what it is today.
Some of them have been saying, thank you for the house. And it goes, I feel like, 2 ways. I feel like I took it one way, and then I seen an official, and I'm like, it could go both. So I think the first one I seen was Bischoff, and I thought well, yeah, through association and years working through him, WCW and all that, sure, he probably helped you buy your house. But I feel like there were so many of them saying it, and I can't name any more, even though there was a bunch. But it's wrestling, it's the house that Hogan helped build.
It's also
or, take it to the height that it went to 40 years ago,
and it's also. Thanks for the house is another term used by a few independent wrestlers where the house money, the draw. Because without Hogan, you wouldn't have the worldwide draw. That's another reason for thanks for the house. And, people got to understand. People tried to say on, social media, well, someone else could have came in and done it. No. I disagree.
That was just a vessel that, Vince McMahon came upon. Because he worked for Senior, right?
Here's the thing, though. Ric Flair even said, because people said, oh, Ric Flair could have came in and done that. Ric Flair's even said Hogan was the guy for the job. He was the man. He was the it factor. And I mean, look what happened.
Came up with the perfect character, because I feel like I heard him say in the interview when they first gave him the name of Hogan, it's Irish, and they wanted him to dye his hair blonde, and he was like, nah.
No, they wanted to dye it red.
Red, why the hell I said that? His hair is blonde. Too many real American beers. Too many thoughts going on. They don't come out straight through.
No, and I want to say, even though their Starrcade match was the drizzling shits, I want to say His rivalry with Sting was really good. You know, a lot of things happened that day at Starrcade '97, and you know it is what it is. But their storyline after that, even before, was really good. I want to say people say he never put people over, and that's a bunch of BS. We've seen it, especially Goldberg.
Ooh.
He put over Goldberg in front of 43,000 people
In Atlanta?
in Atlanta.
And that wasn't even a pay-per-view, right?
No, it wasn't. It was not a pay-per-view.
This isn't even a pay-per-view. Man, I wish I could remember that opening monologue from Ready to Rumble. That what is it? Is it Scott Conn? James
Tony Khan? No.
No, I'm talking about in that movie. Scott, the actor Scott Conn, because it was him and
Scott Caan?
Arquette.
Scott Caan?
Conn,
Yeah,
whatever.
Caan, yeah.
Him and Arquette. But remember,
Ready to
there's like a
Rumble.
monologue where he's going through a list of old wrestlers, like, you know,
Randy
Gorgeous
Buckman,
George,
Savage, and Hulk Hogan.
Freddie, yeah, he mentions Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Like, you know, it's...
He wasn't in that movie, though.
No.
He was still there.
I thought I heard he turned it down.
Wasn't he doing... Wasn't all even... See, I should have had a computer or something to pull up. Wasn't he in Muppets from Space or some
Yes,
shit?
yes, he was. Yes,
Probably
he was.
around the same,
yes, he
same
was.
time
yes,
as
he
that.
was. I just want to let all my Hulkamaniacs know that I'm a bad guy now. And, you know, all my NWO lights. Like, huh?
I'll tell you another movie he was in. I don't know if it ever made it to DVD. I may have to look. But that Three Ninjas movie.
I think it did make a DVD.
Dave Dragon. That was right?
Yeah.
In the Way of the Fist.
Yeah. Oh, no, something Mountain.
No, when Dave Dragon had the whole Way of the Fist thing. And
Oh,
he had like a fist logo on his chest or some shit.
And then you had,
He did his reality show was
and then the movie
how crazy
that came
is that?
out during the reality show that was, I could only watch about 15 minutes of it. Hercules, it was something Hercules,
I don't think I've seen
and he played Zeus, and his wife at the time, Linda, played a teacher. Brooke played a student. Nick played somebody.
I ain't heard of this. Damn, I mean, this is like on
You
camera.
gotta watch. Well, Hogan Knows Best. It was on during that.
Look, how crazy is it? And that's not who we're here to talk about. But a couple days apart, him and Ozzy, and they both had reality shows with their families. That's like one thing they were connected on. I mean, them old reality shows.
dude.
And I watched both shows.
Like when Theo passed, then Ozzy passed. I was like, "What's going on here?" And then a friend of ours called me, and they were like, "Who do you think the third one's gonna be?" I was like, "Why are you talking like that?" Like,
That's just some people, man.
they come in threes. Like, I don't care. I don't want to know. Then, 24 hours later, Hero's gone.
And I was in my bathroom, but I just happened to have the TV on with news because I've kind of always been in the habit if there ain't nothing on, just put news on. If something happens, I'll hear about it, and I've been one of those people where people would ask, hey, what's going on anyway? But I started to hear them break in. We got breaking news, wrestling legend or Hall of Famer or some shit. And I probably shouldn't say this on camera, but I honestly thought, because I forgot, all the shit where they were saying that he'd been in the hospital. Yeah, for some reason, I instantly in my mind, and I don't want anything to happen to the guy, but I thought Ric Flair, honestly.
And
just like, you probably would have thought Ozzy would have went, years ago because of stuff he went, through before, some other artists.
So, like,
but,
I remember
Hulk Hogan. I think I messaged you or something because, you're one of the first people, one of the bigger Hulk Hogan, fans that.
And I remember I called
known.
you and I was, dude.
Because I got a cousin that
mess.
was more of an Ultimate Warrior, fan.
Yeah, I was a
growing
mess.
up, but yeah, Hogan was originally my guy before Stone Cold.
Hogan was always my guy. Like that. So I never got upset like that over someone I don't know personally, ever. And, you know, it's one of those things where, and I saw this picture and I posted it today, you know, stuff from my childhood is now just memories. A hero from my childhood is just a memory. And that, you know, my thing to all this is don't judge people you don't know. Especially people that are remembering somebody that meant so much to them, like me and him are doing. This is, you know, it sucks. You watch somebody on your TVs for years, every Monday night, and sometimes on Sunday, once a month on Sundays, and, you know, a few times on WCW Thunder. It really just, it hits you hard. I mean, I cried. I literally cried. And I kept saying, my hero's gone. My hero's gone.
I cried. Yeah, I mean, when you called me, you know, I figured you'd have something to say, want to talk about it. You know, you cried. We cried together on the phone for a minute. It's just one of those things.
Just really, really sucks. He was turning his life around, and
he was launching a new business with Eric Bischoff, wasn't he? They was trying to do something to get it off the ground.
Yeah. He just opened a bar in Madison, across from Madison Square Garden. He was building a new shop, shirt store in Pigeon Forge. My mom is the very first purchase in that store. By the way, bought me a shirt that I'll be putting in a frame because that's the first purchase in the Pigeon Forge store. But it just, man, it sucks. Like, you're getting older, your childhood, you know, memories and heroes, they're disappearing. It sucks.
Everything. Family.
It sucks.
Just reached that age.
Just, fuck. It just sucks. I'm ready for 2025 to be over. Like, it sucks, man. Like, you grow up and you see these people and you think they're invincible. And when you get older, you realize they're not. They're like us.
You know, sometimes you think, you know, so much of people, you want to know everything about them. I mean, hell, I can remember being in like 3rd grade or some shit and having to write, you know, like, you know, name a place you want to, you know, visit, you know, look up about it, write about it. And it's like, we're here in Cincinnati, I don't know where I want to, you know what I mean? People, oh, you know, New York or LA or some shit. Like, I know where I want to go. I want to go to fucking Venice Beach, California. Why? Because that's where Hulk Hogan's from. Like, you know, you might be having to play, you know, not knowing that he was, you know, down in Tampa, Florida and shit. And I've never even been to California. I have been in the Tampa area. I actually ate at a restaurant down there. I would hope it's still there because it was nice. It was called the Gators Cafe or something, but it was like 2004 when I ate there. But I'm pretty sure, you know, you go in a lot of places and there's, you know, like celebrity pictures, you know, whether or not they signed them, you know, place they ate. But yeah, I feel like there was pictures of him and like Macho Man and shit. Maybe even some boats because they had like docked right there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's right on the water type shit. But,
yeah, man, just, you know, our thoughts, you know, go out to his wife Sky,
those kids,
Brooke and Nick.
I'd always hoped that, you know, Nick would get into wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, he got a little bit of the look, but he just, you know.
But at the same time,
didn't want to do it. You know, not everybody does that.
Well, he tried, but it's big shoes to fill. I mean, his dad was Hulk Hogan. I mean, it's like when David Flair went in, you know, and wrestled, and it didn't last very long.
Did he ref for a while?
He couldn't live up. No, he couldn't live up to the hype of his dad. And you know, I thought David was great, but
is that who the Undertaker beat up that one time?
yes.
Okay, I remember that. The Undertaker. They had big matches in the early '90s. What was it? A cold day in Texas or Tuesday in Texas or some shit. He dropped the title, right? And then
the whole you got me, brother.
Yeah, his neck. And then they didn't meet again until after he came back, and it was over a year. Wasn't it like Judgment Day?
No,
2002 or something.
Yeah, so they wrestled in '90, and Hogan beat him at Tuesday in Texas. And then they had the whole tournament, Royal Rumble thing where Ric Flair won the belt. And then in 2002, when Hogan returned to the WWF, he won the title from Triple H dropped it to him.
Backlash, right?
At Backlash, and then him and Taker, he dropped it to Taker in May, but that match was terrible. It's awful. I was not a fan. It was too.
It's one of those things where you don't remember a lot about. I remember the build up.
Yeah.
Wasn't he trying to steal Undertaker's motorcycle or some shit?
And it flooded on him.
And it ended up getting dragged.
Yes.
Like tied a rope or a chain or something around.
And the match was like 9-10 minutes long. I wasted my birthday money on that pay-per-view.
Pay-per-views used to be expensive. That's another thing, you know, people don't remember is owning pay-per-views back when we were growing up.
30.
You know, at least $30, depending on what it was.
WrestleMania was always 50.
And, you know, if you didn't watch them, you know, you'd have to hope maybe somebody made an illegal copy on a VHS tape, or otherwise, you were going to who remembers Blockbuster Video or Hollywood, and they would have, you know, like a sports or a wrestling section, and
yes,
and that's another thing. You know, we have memories of going places like that, and there's all these, you know, boxes. And, you know, Hulk Hogan was one of the, you know, major faces on a lot of those boxes.
Yes.
And even at the same time, you know, they would have, you know, early 90s WWF, and then they would have, like, all WCW.
Well, this is going to bring up my thing. Now, you remember the old Blockbuster in Hamilton, right?
I couldn't give you, like, real specifics on locations.
So, it was on towards, you know, old Hamilton, off Route 4. But they had, like, all the old WWF VHSs, all of them, because Townsville never, you know, they had like, you know, end of WCW stuff. And,
I feel like once I reached an age where I was like really into wrestling, that was a big rental, unless there was just a movie out that you really wanted to see, like a new release, or, you know, maybe if it was a certain time of year and you wanted to watch like a specific horror movie or some shit, you know, but wrestling.
Dude, Blockbuster was great.
And sometimes some of them, like, you would know there'd be a match or something in a pay-per-view that you haven't seen, and the fucker would always be out or some shit. Like damn, I'm never going to be here on the day when that
like WrestleMania 17, it kept on selling out.
That's one of the only ones I don't have, like, a DVD copy of it for some reason. And that's my... WrestleMania 17 is my all-time favorite WrestleMania. It's
WrestleMania ever.
The build-ups were so different back then.
Oh, so great.
The music.
But, you know, like we said, Hogan, NWO for life.
Hollywood. Yes.
Rest in peace, Hulk. Thank you all for watching. Bye, you won't be seeing us again.
Maybe someday doing something.
Not me. Bye.
All right, rest in peace, Hulk.